Let us start the press conference by Minister Kamikawa. Minister, the floor is yours. I would like to raise 4 points today. The first point. From the 24th through the 26th next week, near Milan, Italy, the Global Women Leaders Summit is expected to be held, where female leaders from around the world will be gathered. I have received an invitation from the organizer and will be attending this meeting. At this meeting, it is expected that discussions will take place with regard to female participation in leadership under conflict, in the light of the current global situation, as well as the issues of global scale, inclusive of the perspective of WPS. As a nation which is strongly promoting WPS as its major diplomatic policy, we hope that the discussion at this meeting can be leveraged for our future diplomatic policies going forward, and would like to further contribute to peace and stability of the international community.
Next, the second item I would like to share with you. This afternoon, under myself, the second meeting of Task Force on Women, Peace and Security, or WPS Task Force meeting will be held. In this meeting, not only bureaus and departments within the Foreign Ministry, but also relevant parties from the Cabinet Office, Reconstruction Agency, Fire and Disaster Management Agency, and the Defense Ministry. The purpose of the meeting is twofold. First, to share the progress of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs WPS efforts inside and outside the ministry since the first task force meeting in January of this year. Second, to hear from the Cabinet Office, the Reconstruction Agency, the Fire and Disaster Management Agency, and the Ministry of Defense about their WPS efforts in the areas of disaster prevention, disaster response, and reconstruction, and to exchange views with the aim of applying these efforts to the diplomatic field. The WPS that Japan is promoting is unique in that it emphasizes the importance of women's leadership and gender perspectives, not only in responding to human-caused conflicts, but also in responding to natural disasters. We would like to make use of the experience and knowledge within the government shared at today's task force meeting in our activities to promote the WPS even more vigorously.
Next, the third point. As was announced by Prime Minister Kishida at the G7 Puglia Summit last week, next year, Japan intends to host an international conference on anti-landmine countermeasures in Ukraine. Also, next year, Japan will be acting as the chair and the president of the meeting of this at the second meeting of the state parties to the anti-personal mine ban convention. So in this connection, allow me to talk about Japan's efforts in relation to landmine countermeasures today. The personal landmines will significantly affect the lives of people even after the conclusion of the conflict. And that being the case, Japan has been actively addressing various initiatives in the anti-landmine countermeasures. To be specific, we have provided various landmine countermeasures from various perspectives, inclusive of the WPS perspective, such as provision of landmine removal equipment as well as technical cooperation, education on landmine avoidance, as well as support to the victims of the landmines, especially in Cambodia, which has struggled so hard under the effects of the landmines. We have partnered with local relevant organizations and have been involved in landmine countermeasures for a very long time in the country. Also, with regard to landmine countermeasures in Ukraine, we have invited members and the staff of the Emergency Service Agency to Cambodia and have promoted cooperation such as providing training for such personnel. Also, last month, when the advisory board on the promotion of science and technology diplomacy issued a recommendation on the title of Science and Technology Diplomacy (ODA), which compiles necessary measures to promote science and technology diplomacy leveraging ODA. They mentioned that they will actually implement recommendation pertaining to landmine countermeasures as a priority. With regard to landmine countermeasures, based on cooperation and trust which Japan has accumulated up until now, we would like to further evolve this trend through the cooperation of diverse set of partners, inclusive of those in Cambodia. And for that purpose, right now, we are working to compile a set of new policy package on this matter, and we hope to announce them as soon as possible.
Lastly, I would like to share with you a few words as we approach the end of the current session of the Diet. Since I became a foreign minister in September last year, I dedicated all I have without looking aside to the duties and responsibility of the foreign minister with all possible efforts. When I first assumed office, based on the three basic policies of number 1, protecting the national interest, number 2, establishing a presence in the international community, and number 3, promoting diplomacy that is understood and supported by the people of Japan, I resolved to confront head-on the most pressing issues facing Japan. 9 months have passed since then. During that time, we have built relationships with our counterparts in allied and like-minded countries, and we feel that we have been cooperating closely with them. At the same time, the environment surrounding Japan has become more and more complex. When I think of the future of Japan, especially the faces of the younger people who will be responsible for Japan's future, I cannot afford to have a rest. It will be 1 year as Minister of Foreign Affairs in 3 months from today, and I am determined to fulfill my daily responsibilities with renewed determination. That is all from me. Are there any questions? Please raise your hand, and if you are called, please mention your affiliation and your name, please. Imai-san from Hokkaido Shimbun.
Thank you. My name is Imai from Hokkaido Shimbun. I'd like to ask about Russia, if I may. Now, President Putin visited North Korea, and the two countries have signed, if you will, the Comprehensive Strategic Partnership Convention or Treaty. This, I believe, is a de facto military alliance. Can you talk about the closer distance between Russia and North Korea in the military aspect? Will that affect Japan's Russian policy, or will that affect Japan-Russian diplomacy? Thank you. That is my question. Thank you. With regard to the agreement that you referred to, I'm afraid I'm not in a position to explain the aforementioned convention or treaty. Now, on top of that, the North Korean side has used the expression of alliance when they describe the relations between Russia and North Korea, and they indicate a very close collaboration, especially in the military aspect. Now, Russia has also not excluded the possibility of military technological cooperation, which could actually be a direct violation of the UN Security Council resolution. Bearing that in mind, this could actually seriously undermine the security situation of the region, inclusive of Japan, and we seriously take this situation. As Japan is concerned with regard to possible impact on our diplomacy against Russia going forward, we would like to closely monitor the progression of the relations between Russia and North Korea with close interest.
Miki-san from Nikkei Shimbun, please. My name is Miki from Nikkei. As a follow-up question, as Minister said, the impacts on the peace and security surrounding Japan is concerned, and how are we going to respond to the surrounding situation, including the extended deterrence and other security-related and multilateral cooperation. And regarding the cooperation in the military area between Russia and North Korea, and we believe that given the currently severe environment in the security surrounding our country, we have been paying great interest to the result of the summit between Russia and North Korea. I am not in a position to explain the treaty and its contents, but North Korea has expressed Russia-North Korea relation as alliance, and it suggested a very close military relationship and cooperation, and this may pose a potential direct violation of the UNSC resolution. And Russia mentioned that such military technical cooperation with North Korea is not excluded, and therefore it poses a threat to the security situation surrounding our country. Therefore, we have a grave concern about this. Therefore, as the government, we needed to squarely look at the capabilities, the security environment, which is changing, and we needed to consider strengthening capabilities and roles of Japan in the security, and deterrence based on the Japan-U.S. alliance and response capabilities shall be further enhanced, and we'd like to further cooperate with the allied forces, countries like South Korea.
Ms. Berkan, the floor.
Anadolu News. My name is Furkan. Thanks for the opportunity to direct the question. Today I prefer to ask question in English. This week, a new report by a United Nations-backed independent commission called Independent International Commission of Inquiry on the Occupied Palestinian Territory said that the Israeli military's deliberate use of heavy weapons in Gaza Strip has been an intentional and direct attack on the civilian population. The chairperson of the commission, Navi Pillay, said this week that Israel has committed crimes against humanity, forced starvation, extermination, murder, and inhumane and cruel treatment of Palestinians. So I would like to know what's the Foreign Minister of Japan's valuable comment on this matter. What's the Japanese government stance on this issue? Thanks.
Yes, I believe the report that you refer to was issued on June 12th by the Independent International Commission of Inquiry, which was established by the resolutions of the Special Committee of the UN Human Rights Commission in May of 2021. And I believe this is a report that expresses the independent views of this commission with regard to various violations of international humanitarian law as well as international human rights law by parties to the conflict, as well as the possibility of international crime with regard to all these incidents that occurred after June of last year. As far as Japan is concerned, we see the critical humanitarian situation in Gaza, as well as the fact that many civilians are falling victims to bombings. We take this situation very seriously. As far as Japan is concerned, with regard to Israel, there are various phone conferences with myself and Prime Minister Katz on 3 occasions since April. We have continued to approach this matter with Israel on many different occasions, and we have asked that they comply with the international law, inclusive of the international humanitarian law, and that they work to realize sustainable ceasefire and improve the human rights situation. We'll continue to take these measures very actively. Thank you.
Nishiyama-san from Kyoto News. My name is Nishiyama from Kyoto. I have a question related to the memorial service for Okinawa. And I heard that you are going to attend the memorial service to be held on June 23rd. Could you please give us your take on that? And also regarding Okinawa, the measures related to the plan for returning the bases in the southern part of Okinawa. Could you please explain, because we see that significant progress is not made. On the 23rd of June, I myself, if circumstances allow, I plan to visit Okinawa so that I will be able to attend the memorial service for the war deads in Okinawa. This service is to pray for the rest of the souls who were dead on warfield, as well as who were killed, calamity of war. I believe that this is a great opportunity, excellent opportunity for us to pray for the rest of the souls. So I'd like to pay condolences as the foreign minister. And 80 years have passed since the end of the World War II, but people in Okinawa are still bearing a lot of impacts of the bases, and about 70% of all the bases in Japan concentrated on the island in Okinawa. Therefore, reducing the burden or impact of bases are considered to be the top priority issue for us as well in the government of Japan. And we would like to collaborate with the U.S. as well as relevant concerned ministries and agencies in order to make a steady progress. With the United States, when the Prime Minister made an official visit to the States in April, there was the issuance of the joint statement by the summit. And also on other occasions, on the ministerial level as well as the summit levels, in order to reduce the burden on the Okinawa, in order to make the steady progress in the realignment of the U.S. forces in Japan, we have been confirming and confirming the progress so that we can make a steady progress. Going forward, we'd like to continue working with the U.S. side in order to reduce the burden.
Next question, Oyabe-san from Yomiuri Shimbun, please. Thank you. My name is Oyabe from Yomiuri Shimbun. I'd like to ask about the situation in Israel, if I may. I understand that a hotel in Kyoto has rejected the accommodation of Israeli tourists from staying at their hotel because of the fact that they have taken part in war crimes. That has been reported by the media. And now there are voices within Israel that they can no longer travel safely in Japan. But considering that Japan will be hosting the Osaka Kasa Expo next year, and also is in a place to welcome inbound tourists, I think it's important that we show that we will not condone any discrimination based on nationality or political creed. I appreciate your views, Minister. First of all, rejecting accommodation based on nationality is not something that can be accepted whatsoever. It is simply not acceptable. As far as this particular matter is concerned, I understand that an investigation is underway by Kyoto City, and understand that guidance will be based on Japanese in-law will be carried out. As far as our ministry is concerned, it is important that all tourists who visit Japan will be able to enjoy a very safe stay in Japan. We believe that is very important. As you mentioned, next year we'll be hosting the Osaka Concept Expo. It's important that we take appropriate measures toward this direction. Thank you.
Nakamura-san from Shizuoka Shimbun, the floor is yours. This is Nakamura speaking. You mentioned a few words approaching the end of the current session, but during the current session, there was an issue of the slush funds of the LDP that was focused. And as one of the members of the cabinet under Prime Minister Kishida, could you please give us your comment? During this current, there were 11 bills which were for conclusion of the 11 treaties which were submitted by the Foreign Ministry, as well as the 2 legislation which were enacted. And when the current session was opened in January, as a Minister of Foreign Affairs, as one of the most important diplomacy issues based upon the rules of law, as well as in order to enhance and maintain the international order based on the rule of law and free and open such order, we believe that we needed to progress the diplomacy with the safe and secure world to be realized with the respect for the human dignity. And the current diet will be closed soon, but with the dedication of myself, I'd like to continue to fulfill my duties as a foreign minister. Thank you.
Asahi Shimbun, Matsuyama-san, please. This will be the final question. Matsuyama from Asahi Shimbun. I would ask about a relevant question. Now, with regard to issues related to political funds at LDP, Asahi Shimbun newspaper conducted a poll, and the support approval rating for LDP has fallen to 19%. I believe this is this is the first time that the support for the ruling party has fallen in the teens based on the current opinion poll taking measures. I think this will have impact on the election of the president, on the president of LDP party itself. So, Minister Kamikawa, you are going to be leading. You're a leader in the party. Or do you intend to stand as a candidate to the presidency of LDP? If not, what type of position are you taking with regard to the the political funds situation right now? First of all, we have to take very seriously the very severe and very harsh views that the Japanese public has toward the political situation right now. As far as the Minister of Foreign Affairs is concerned, as the Minister of Foreign Affairs rather, I've always felt that diplomacy based on trust and confidence is something that can translate into concrete outcome and results. That is something which I have felt on the ground. So be it domestic, we cannot separate domestic issues and diplomacy. It is important that we create a diplomacy which can be understood by the public and which can be supported by the public. I think we should take the same position, be domestic issues or diplomacy. As I mentioned earlier, I have assumed the position since September, and I've been involved in my position in unwavering commitment to this issue, to this. Of course, I welcome the expectation. I'm aware of the expectation. I hope that I'll be able to meet the expectations as the minister, and I will continue to work so that I'll be able to meet these expectations as the minister. That is my position as one politician. So that's how I would like to address this matter. Thank you. That's it for the press conference. We'd like to close this press conference at this juncture. Thank you for your participation.